Hello, thanks for joining us here on the Creating Calm Network. I'm the host of the show In the Kitchen with Schel, in which I prepare for you vegan and vegetarian dishes for you to enjoy with yourself and your friends. So join me. Let's get this party started because it's the holiday season. Stage left. Welcome. I'm Lord Shelby, aka Schel, host of the online cooking show Cooking in the Raw, a show that is unscripted, unedited, and unrehearsed. If I make a mistake, it's happening for real. So I try not to make any mistakes. But it's a show that no one's perfect. Things happen in the kitchen. If you're watching this video today, that means you picked up that little card that said recipe card. And I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide in preparing the dish that I made at the Kohler Food and Wine event. Now, for the ingredients, if you look down below inside of the description, you'll see all the ingredients and measures that you need. So this dish here will be chickpea, Indian spiced chickpea in the wonton cup. But first, I'm going to have a little bit of libation here. For me, it's still food and wine. But I'm going to do beer this time. This is in honor of that tailgate party that you may have attended on Sunday. I'm drinking here the Blue Moon Seasonal, which is a harvest pumpkin ale. Oh, check this out. This is a trick that I learned at a beer drinking class that I attended. Pouring down the center of the bottle. Let's see if I can get it. To get a nice head and a pour. I did it. The instructor would be very proud that I was able to do that. So I thought that this would be a nice match for the dish today, the spices. Wow, wonderful. Also in honor of the fall season that we're having here. So without further ado, let's get cooking. So to start this dish, there's quite a few components, some things I couldn't do for you when we were on the stage. Because of time. I only had half an hour to put it together. But now this time I can take my time and walk you through the process. So for the ingredients, we're going to need wontons. Okay, wonton skins. I have carrot, red onion, garlic, white onion, and then over here I have the chickpea already drained. You know, you can actually cook your own chickpea if you like, but this is already drained chickpeas or garbanzo beans. I have the spices for that dish, which will be cardamom. Let me show that here. Cardamom, coriander, dried mint leaves, and cumin. And then that secret spice of mine, 006. As I said before, I like to give all of my spices numbers instead of names. It's a lot easier for me to remember. And what this is my own house spice blend of a curry mix, which is going to be a part of that dish as well. And then for the red onion, the spicy red onions, we have Spice 00, which starts it off. We have some ground ginger, cayenne pepper, and then just for kicks, I'm going to throw in just a little bit more spice number 6. Let's do it. First thing we're going to do is cook off our wontons. So let's get this open more. We're going to cook off our wontons to make those little cups. Again, that was one of the things that I couldn't demonstrate on stage. It would have taken way too much time. So simply make sure, now when you work with wontons, they have a tendency to dry out fast. You have to work quick. Okay, that you don't dry out on you. Make sure that you're not doubling up. So that'll be one. Stick it inside. Make sure it's snug in the edges. Okay. Nice and snug in the edges here. That's 2. Now I'm going to make just enough for myself and the camera operator. My camera operator loves to be my tester, my taste tester. Can I get a thumbs up on that one?
Yes, you can.
Wonderful. Yes. So we get all these inside the cup here. My oven preheated at 350 degrees. So that's good to go. Now again, we're trying to create dishes that will keep you out of the kitchen so you can entertain with your friends. So with this dish here, with the wontons, you can make these 2 days ahead and then store them in a container outside the refrigerator for the next 2 days. So then at the day of your party, you make your filling and you're good to go. You can fill it with almost anything. That's what I like about them. Sometimes, and that's another video, I make ravioli with these. All right, so I'll do one more row here. Or should I just fill it up? What do you think?
I think you should just fill it up.
All right, I'm gonna fill it up. We have time. I have time. It's a party. I have beer. Okay, and I have wine too. So we'll get that going. 2 more here. Now, also what I like to do, because I probably won't use all of these wonton wrappers in a week or so. So what I like to do is oftentimes individually wrap them, take them out of the package and wrap them in stacks in plastic wrap, put them in freezer lock Ziploc bags, and I freeze them until I need them. So they'll hold like that for about 3 months. For now, I'm just going to stick them in my Ziploc bag and put them in the refrigerator. And I'll get them into the freezer later. So now we have our wontons in our mini muffin pan. If I didn't mention that earlier, make sure everything's nice and secure. Now, what I like about this also is every cup is unique. It doesn't have to be perfect. So every cup is going to have a unique shape once it's baked. The most important thing here is to make sure that it's baked through on the bottom. Okay, nice and flat. And into the oven they go. So that may be about, depending on your oven, it may be about a 10-15 minute process. I have it at 350 degrees electric oven. So it may be about 10-15 minute process. We'll check in a little bit. While that's doing its thing, I'll start the red onion, the spicy red onion topping. So we'll take one of our red onions here, and we're just gonna julienne the onion. Doesn't have to be perfect. Simple julienne. I'm only making it just a little bit for us here tonight. I want this process. I'm cutting it rather thin here in this case, so the process of cooking can go by quicker. Break that up, and that's going to go into our pan here. So we have our pan already heated. Heat up some more. A little bit of olive oil. Again, in this particular dish, it's not about the oil. It's just to prevent it from sticking or scorching the bottom of the pan, but it's more so about the onion. There we go. That's nice and hot. You can see the smoke. That's cooking in the raw. Let's see what happens. In this case, I'm going to bring my pot over here to my onions. Drop those in, nice with a sizzle. Okay. Quick, Schel, before it cools down. Quick, quick. Get these over here to the fire. Then we just want those to saute, all right, to soften. We're not looking for color here, all right? This isn't about color. We'll just get nice. So we turn that fire down. Let this begin to do its thing. And while that's doing its thing, we'll start our chickpea. Make sure that this isn't cooking too fast. And for those of you out there who have an electric stove, you know what I'm talking about. You just have to keep an eye on it. Because unlike gas, when you turn it down, it's still up. Then when you turn it up, it's going to take a while to come up. So you want to keep an eye on what you're doing over here. Wow, that smells good. That's softening up real nice. But again, we're not looking for color here. We just want soften. So while that's doing this thing, let's get our white onion ready for our chickpea. Spiced chickpea. Again, julienne. We're going to use some of that for garnish in the end. Now we dice. Okay, nice. Now remember, when you're in the kitchen, you have to use all of your senses, okay? You have to pay attention to the smell in case something's burning behind you. Listen with your ears so you can hear the sizzle that's happening in your pan. If it gets too low or if it gets too wild, so you can make some adjustments. Okay, remember we don't want any color. You can smell the color if these begin to change color. I'm using a stainless steel pan here. Again, we don't want them too brown, as you can see that. We want it to be too brown here. That's softening up real nice. Turn that fire down. Let's give it now. It's like a reduction in the glaze. Okay? So we're gonna get, this is balsamic vinegar. We're gonna use some of that. Let's add our spice to it here. This is some of the 00. Alright? We're gonna put in some ginger. Okay? Now I'm just eyeballing because I'm using my senses, you know, my sight, my smell. But if I had to give you, we probably had a teaspoon and a half of the 00. I like spice. And we probably had a half a teaspoon of the ginger. Get that stirred in. I can smell all the spices. I can smell the ginger. Okay? Again, in this case, salt is the last thing. Now look what we got here. Okay? That's what we got here. Wow, I wish you could smell that. Woo! Can you smell it over there?
I can smell it. Smells good.
Oh my. So now we turn this fire down a little bit because we don't want our spices to burn. So what we're doing is we're kind of toasting our spices with the onion. So now we add our balsamic vinegar for deglaze. Just a little bit of that. Let's turn our fire up a little bit. Now at this phase here, what we're doing is we're just going to let this reduce until it softens the onion and it becomes almost like a chutney, almost jelly. Okay? We turn that to 4. It'll be a slow process. So we get this done early so we can cool it. And we probably want to get it really, really cold. We want to get it nice and chilled here. Nice and cool enough so we can use it as a garnish. So it's almost going to be like balsamic candied red onions with the spice to it. So that's doing its thing. Let's turn that down to a simmer. I'm going to taste and see where those flavors are at. Smells good. That's spicy. Alright, so if you like spicy, it's entirely up to you. I'm going to add a little bit more ginger to it. Because for me, I like to have some of that ginger just come out. Okay, stir it around. I want to put a little bit more balsamic vinegar in there. And let that really cook down. Alright, boom. That's going to do its thing. Let's move over here. We're done with these ingredients. I'm not going to worry about salting that right now. I'll have time to do that as we get towards the end. I can throw in some black pepper, some fresh cracked black pepper, again, which will kick it up a couple of more notches. But we'll just let it ride for a minute here. That's on a nice little simmer here. Boom. So, onions are started here. And I'm going to julienne some onion for a garnish. There's a couple of ways to serve this, and I'm going to try to do 2 of those ways. Let's check out our wonton. Coming along nicely. Okay. Wow. One of the remarkable things in the kitchen is that you have to keep track of everything. You can't get so sidetracked. I'm trying. So we get a nice little julienne. I'm going to try to serve this up to you a couple different ways. So that's done for that. Okay. This is going to be for the chickpea here. We're going to get some garlic here to put in there. Nice thin slivers. Okay. That's going to take care of that. Nice dice. Here we go. So all this is going to be cooked in. Alright, and when we do this, again, this time we want a brown, a nice slow browning of the onion and of the garlic that's in this dish here. Okay, now you can also add fresh ginger. Again, all the recipes that I prepare, they're not hardened in stone. I want you to be creative. I want you to do different things with them. Make it your own. Okay? So that's going to be that. Let's get us some oil into our pan here. Now, this process for this is going to be very, very important because we're going to toast the spices, then add our onion to it. Alright? So we want again, this is where gas has the advantage over electric. So you really got to pay close attention to this one. We're going to turn this up here to get this going. This is doing this thing, which is marvelous, marvelous. We can kick that up to number 2. Going to get this, nice and warm. Woo! Wontons are coming along nicely. I'm going to pull one of these out so you can see what's happening. Look at that there. That's what's happening. But we are still kind of raw. We got a long way to go, but I want you to get a look at it. Okay? Let's get that back in. Now, if you have the kind of stove or oven that cooks uneven, rotate your pan so things cook nice and even. All right, that's heating up really nicely there. Now, the fun part. The fun part right here. That's nice and hot. Now, this process here has to go really quick because we don't want to burn our spices. That changes the whole complexity and the flavor of the dish if we do that. Sometimes what I like to do is add my onions and my garlic and then add my spices, and which I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to toss in my onion. Okay? So that'll help prevent us from burning our spices. Okay? I'm going to add some of the cardamom. Let me switch hands here so you can see. Add just a little bit of the cardamom. Okay? We got enough sizzle there. I'm going to add some of the coriander. Shake that around because this is getting a slight toast. All this is ground. Okay? I got some of that in there. I'm going to add some cumin to the dish. Okay? Now let's get a smell. Oh, can you smell that from there?
I can smell it.
Wow. Now we want to let that cook because we want to toast the spices and want those onions to get nice and brown. In fact, I'm going to add just a little bit. Sometimes I like to mix spices. That's entirely up to you, how you want to do it. But I like to do that when I'm cooking. I have all these spices I create, so I like to mix them up. Again, I'm only making a small serving. Now, we just let that cook. Okay? You can see the coloring that's taking place in these onions. As I said many times in the previous video, it's all about building flavors and building the flavors slowly. You're not going to worry about salt right now until we get the chickpea into the dish. Alright? So that's doing its thing. We'll turn that down, let that keep cooking, let it develop its flavor. Wontons are coming along nicely. You still got time left on those. Tips of brownie, but they're coming along nicely. Oh, that smells good. Now, as that begins to cook, get a whiff of that. Can you smell that? I can smell that from here. I can't believe you can't smell that. When would they create or develop smells for TV? I can't wait. So now I'm going to add the garlic to this. Okay? Give that a nice stir in. Then I'll check those wontons again. One minute. Got to be able to cool them off. Let's see what we got here. Oh, that looks pretty nice. Looks pretty nice. But just because it has nice coloring on the outside, again, what's important is that the center is cooked. I'm going to turn this. Okay? Stick it in for a couple more minutes. See what happens. Onions are doing nicely up here. Our spices are doing great here. Alright. Doing this thing. Now, we're going to add in there some of my personal curry mix. Again, as I said, it's all about building flavors. We have a little bit of that. And inside of this is some of the same ingredients I have there, but also we have turmeric in here as well, which is giving it that nice yellow color. So we're done with that. We'll stir this through. And I'm probably going to add some more of that once I add the chickpea. All right, let's check out our cups. I think they're good enough now. We'll set these up here to cool. Look at there, all unique. You know, no cup is the same. And that's what I like about using the wonton cups. Whew, that's hot. One more. Whew, that's hot. Put this in the sink to cool. All right, that takes care of that. That's cooling. Turn off the light here. Now finish with this here. This is doing its thing. Get a fork. Stir that through. Okay, now when you cook this, again, you want it to get nice and soft. Okay, and this is a process, which is why, again, just like the wonton cups, you may want to cook the onion topping, the spiced onion, red onions, you want to cook that the day before as well. So to have time to cool really nice in the refrigerator. And all you have to do is just top those, or put that on top of your cups. So now, that's doing its thing. We're going to add just a wee bit more oil to it, because I want this to get nice and toasty. Because we're going for a nice and toasty. Let me get another spoon here. And we do our chickpea. Move these over. I still have to use the mint. Okay, that's going to be that. Now I'm going to do one more thing here. Now this is something I didn't have at the show, but it's something I'm going to do here. I preserve my own lemons, okay? And I like to add preserved lemons to a dish like this. That's doing its thing and not burning. And it's a simple process in preserving lemons. It's pretty much just the lemon juice itself, salt, and thyme. Okay? I preserve these. What would you say? When I did these early in the summer?
Summertime.
Summertime? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we'll take our knife, cut out the pulp, because we want to use this, just a little bit of the skin. You can use the pulp for other things, you know, but we're going to cut out the pulp. I'm going to get rid of that this time. I mean, it's nice and soft. The pulp is what we want. The skin is the part we want. It's all the flavor and the oils. We want the skin. Now, with this, all you need is a little bit. So I'm going to take some of this off. Very, very thin. Very thin. So thin, so fast, you can't even see it. Alright? But there you go. That's what it looks like. Okay? We'll set that there. And now, that's still doing its thing. Now I'm going to chop this nice and fine. And that'll be ready for me to use. So preserving lemons is like a Moroccan thing. I like to infuse and blend different flavors from different continents, different countries, different areas of the world. Wow, I can smell that. So let's see with that smell how it works with my seasonal beer. Oh wow, that's a good match there. So as you can see, they're getting nice and brown here. Nice and brown, nice and toasty. Now we're going to add some of our chickpea to the dish. These are just canned chickpeas. You can make your own if you like. Canned chickpeas that I drained. Oh heck, why not use them all? That'll be that. Wow, you can smell that. I mean, again, how simple is this dish? You can't get any more simple than that. We turn that fire up. This is doing its thing, cooking down nicely. Getting candy. Take a look at that. If you can see beyond the steam. Okay? Now I'm going to put the lemons in here. Cook that through. Now, when you had this dish at the Food and Wine show, it was a room temperature dish. Alright? I'm going to try and cool it off as much as I can so that we can put this together. Now comes just a pinch of the mint leaves. Just a pinch, not a lot. Okay? Not a lot. You're not looking for this to taste overly minty either. I mean, of course, this is pretty strong for dried mint. Take a smell of that. Did you get that? I think I did. All right. So that's doing its thing. Wow, I mean the flavors, all the spice that exists here. This is cooking down nice again. I want you to get a look inside of there. Let's see if we can get that steam to fade away. You can see what's happening. You get nice and candied. Okay? That's doing its thing. Now you got to know where it's at. Now here's our salt. So what I like to do is take some sea salt or kosher salt and grind it myself. You know, although I like it when it's in large granules for certain other cookings, but oftentimes I just grind down my own. And I just use my coffee. I have a coffee grinder specifically for spices. One for coffee, one for spices. Okay? Alright, now I'm going to add some fresh onion here. Okay? That's going to cook down. Get some of the coloring. You can see already it's turning those onions nice and yellow. That's the turmeric inside of the dish. And all those spices. Now we got to taste it and make sure it's where it needs to be. Okay? Do just a wee bit more oil. Very lightly. Let's get me another spoon here to taste. Make sure our flavor is where they need to be. Okay? That's what we got here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're going to do a little bit more. I mean, it's so flavorful. It's like a different flavor in every bite. A little bit more of this. A little bit more salt. I mean, you see how much fun I'm having? Very simple. Very quick. Not stressful. I want to put more onion in it. Lemon, preserved lemon in it too. I just like that flavor. Yeah, if you can see it the first time. Quick, thin, to the point. See, this citrus and the lemon, the preserved lemon and the oils, it just like brightens up the dish. But you gotta be, you can't be over generous with it though, okay? Now you can put in some fresh parsley if you want, or dried parsley if you want. Just add a little bit more color to it. Okay, take a look at our onions here. We turn that down. Okay, we'll get this out of here. That's doing its thing here. Let's get our onions out of here. So you can see that. As I said, I'm doing this for your purpose. But when you do this the day before, and just let that just slowly cook. Oh, this is amazing. We had a chance to taste it when I gave you that. We just slowly cook and almost melted in your mouth. Okay? So that's cool, doing this thing. Let's grab this cutting board here. And we're going to start to do some assembly. A couple of different ways you can serve this. The way that you had it that afternoon, and then you can serve it simply just as a warm or cold chickpea kind of a salad. Okay? So I'm going to need to do some garnish. Okay, I'm going to take some carrot here. Now, this is going to be something. Same with the lemon, nice and thin. Sharp knife is important. Got to have a sharp knife. Okay? This is just for our garnish here. I'll take some of this. Chop, 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 chop. Now again, I said this is cooking it raw. So if I chop my finger, you get to see it all. But that's why you take your time, be precise in what you're doing. But this was that, you gotta have some fresh flavor in something that you're doing. And this is fall. I mean, this is a nice, dark, savory fall dish that we did there. Went pretty nicely with the wine. It's one of those dishes that can go with white wine, red wine, beer, you know, because of the spice and the flavors that exist there. And now, this is ready for our garnish. Let's assemble. Okay, let's take this. I don't know what to do. Take the wooden board, move this here, bring this over here so you can see. Let's get another spoon, put this together. So again, very simple process, all right? We take some chickpea. So imagine if you made this the night before and the flavors had the opportunity to absorb inside of the chickpea. Everything's mellow, everything's, you know, mellow together. And the next day, you begin to feel the cups. So a little bit of chickpea in the cup, okay, on the plate. Now imagine your guest showing up and saying, oh my God, when did you have time to do all of that? And we're not even finished yet. We're just scooping the chickpeas in the cup. It's a meal in itself. All right? So there's that part. Now, we're going to take, let me turn this around this way. Now we're going to take a little bit of the spiced balsamic onion that you had there, and that just goes a little bit on top. Now again, you want to cook this till they're nice and soft. It's like a chutney, but it's a spiced red onion chutney. Okay? It's just nice and soft and sweet. You know, so I would say the whole process, and I have the ingredients down below in the description and the time, and this would be separated from it. So I would say the onions would probably have to cook. Make sure you have enough balsamic vinegar. Probably have to cook on a simmer for about 15, 20 minutes so they're nice and soft. Okay, that takes care of that. Now for the last thing. Some carrot over the top. There's the dish. Another way you can serve it is to have a plate and simply just serve it on the plate with some toasted wontons, and it's like a dip. So I hope that you had fun again at the Kohler Food and Wine event. I hope you had fun today with me presenting you this dish. Enjoy the holidays, enjoy your parties, and I'll see you next time on Cooking in Raw. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.